If you haven't seen Love It or List It, it is a real estate and renovation show featuring interior designer Hilary Farr and real estate agent David Visentin. We're going to get some great insight. We're going to have a lot of fun. So we have to welcome David to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
It's always good to have a paisan here.
Yeah. All right. Let's first talk about why, again, you wanted to come into the studio. We wanted to have you on. But it's an important article, and it's regarding smoking and, of course, home sales. So can you touch on that a bit?
Yeah. I mean, the market kind of fluctuates. It goes up and down. It's kind of ever-changing. But the one consistent thing is that the more appealing a home is to a buyer, the more he will pay. And one of the things that affects a home beyond sort of the function of it and how it looks, it definitely is the smell. And we don't think about that very often, but our sense of smell is very, very strong.
Right.
Right? And it's one of those powerful things that you can't escape it when you're in it. And when a house smells from smoke to top to bottom, it affects the appeal a buyer has.
Turns you off.
For the house. It turns you off. In fact, sometimes it turns you around.
Right.
And you walk
right out the door.
Right out the door, and you are not even buying this house.
Now, David, Simon and I always talk about the five senses. So at the end of the day, when you're getting a home ready to list, it is about appeasing to those five senses.
Absolutely.
That's how we do everything in life, right?
Absolutely.
So again, what are you experiencing? So when these people have been smoking forever and a day, how do you rectify that situation?
Well, it's a difficult one to rectify.
I'm sure.
It's a difficult one.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It is almost impossible, especially for a buyer who any advice you give him, he's not really going to know whether it's going to work until he's in the house.
Right.
He's going to have to move into it first in order to take care of the problem. And that's really where, the value gets taken away from a home. You can tell a buyer, you can say, listen, if you open up the wall from the kitchen to the dining room, you're going to have nice open concept. But it's another thing to tell them, well, listen, if you clean the carpets and you paint the walls, the smell will be gone. They don't really buy that conversation.
Okay, so what do you do?
Well, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, a buyer really just has to take into consideration for himself. And when a buyer takes anything in consideration, in this kind of a scenario, they're not going to think best case scenario. They're going to think worst case scenario. So they're going to go through and they're going to say, okay, maybe I have to replace all the carpets. Maybe painting's not going to be good enough. Maybe this is so ingrained into the drywall, I'm actually going to have to re-drywall this.
And replacing cabinets and drapes and in the light fixture.
Well, because over years and years,
everything.
it's just seeping into
Think about it.
everything.
Yeah, if you've got airflow in the house, it's in your air ducts. And just blowing air through that's not going to solve it. There's heavy duty chemicals that are required sometimes. People don't get it.
Well, you've got some key findings here. I mean, you said the vast majority, 87% of Ontario real estate agents and brokers surveyed said that smoking is definitely in the home lowers resale value to some extent, right? Almost half, about 45%, reported that smoking is a major factor affecting the resale value.
And yet 15% of Canadians still have smokers in the home.
Crazy.
That's a huge number.
So now we have to look at it, not only is it affecting your health, but it affects the resale of your home.
Yeah. Two of the biggest things in most people's lives is their health and their home.
There you go.
And it's, and so you really, before you're even putting your house for sale, I mean, it's a conversation that a realtor should have with a homeowner. And it's not an easy conversation to have.
I'm sure.
Because it's very personal.
Of course.
And they don't often like
hearing the truth.
You telling them your house really smells like smoke, like really badly. Because I don't think they realize it sometimes.
Yeah, listen, my father used to smoke, and he would, to him it was just normal. He would come home, and he said, well, I'm home, and I'm relaxing, and I want to sit in my easy chair and watch TV and smoke at home. And now, he got sick a couple of years ago. He's not smoking anymore. He can't stand it now, and now he gets it, but it's too late.
Absolutely.
I sold a house last year, and she'd probably been living in there for, I would say, better part of 40 years. She smoked the whole time she was there with her son. I had a family coming to look at it, and I told people, because you have to brace them, you have to let them know. They walked in, and they right away said, kids, go back to the car.
Yeah.
You are not walking through this house.
Yeah,
And it's just because they didn't want them walking on the carpets. They didn't want them picking up anything. Now, I sold it, but I guarantee if she hadn't smoked in that house, she would have got 30,000, 40,000 more than.
And that's huge. That's substantial, guys.
Huge amount of money.
All right, I'll do the public announcement. Everybody out there, you have to quit smoking. All right, we got to change this direction here. Okay, let's first of all let our listeners know that you are a realtor. So the show is truthful. Okay, you are a successful realtor. What's your brokerage? You are one of us. That's why you're here. What's your brokerage?
My brokerage is Country Living Realty Limited. And I work with both my brothers and my father. And I do. I mean, I sell everywhere, but the majority of what I sell is just north of the city. A lot of country properties all the way from Caledon all the way up to Creemore.
Okay.
A lot of weekend places to people in Toronto. I've been doing this since 1987.
So you're new at it.
I'm new at it. I'm new at it.
You don't look that old.
Thank you. It's because I don't smoke.
Did you start?
There you go.
You started when you were 10.
Yes, there you go.
Let's talk a little bit about the show. People just don't know the difference between what they see. Is it real, or just is it scripted?
What we tell people is we say, listen, be as honest as you can.
They were honest.
Exactly how you feel. And for the most part, I mean, I think we're fairly polite. Canadians in the service industry. And we go into a store. We often don't say exactly how we feel, but we talk about them when we leave the store.
Which is the worst thing you could do.
Which is the worst thing you can do.
That's right.
And so for the show, obviously, we need to have the conversation now, not when you're driving home.
Of course.
And people, when you're spending their money, and people get...
Listen,
honest.
Of
People
course.
get very honest when you're spending their money and it's not going the way they want it to.
So why do you think the show has been so successful?
I think it tackles a question that is very common. Obviously, if you own a home, if the home no longer works for you, do you renovate or do you move? And I think when people watch it, they get to go through that roller coaster ride. On top of that, it's a lot of fun. I mean, Hillary have a lot of fun together, and I think people enjoy watching us having a lot of fun together.
Great dynamics.
And you get a martini at the end of the show.
You get
Absolutely.
a martini. You get to. So it's all good.
I
It's
love
all
that
good.
part. Now, you have how many seasons again that you've done?
Oh, I know where this is going. We're probably in our 5th season.
All right. And
104 episodes.
All right. So of those 104 episodes, have you won more or has Hillary won more?
Well, the stats are out there. You know what? After 100 martinis, can you really remember any of those stats?
Come on.
Are they 102?
I'm testing you,
Are
buddy.
they
I'm testing
really
you.
important? That doesn't talk
They're
about the
so
second one we
important.
had.
That's
After
right,
the first
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Because all I've got to say is girl power. Because Hillary has won 51 times, and you, my friend, it's 38.
You know what? That's probably accurate. I mean, maybe.
No, it's
maybe
accurate.
you've made a mistake.
No,
You're reading
David,
it improperly.
it's accurate.
Possible.
Look, it's here. Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
It's on Wikipedia. Wow.
You know, I'm not surprised, that I'm not ahead. Because I think it's very hard for people to move. It's hard to get people out of their home, especially once they walk into that house and it looks amazing. Even if she hasn't done everything, she's done enough for
To
Pete's
keep
sakes.
them.
to
Okay, let's
keep
do
them.
rapid fire questioning. Is it true when working with couples that they're usually divided, meaning one wants to stay and the other one wants to move? Is that real in the show?
Absolutely. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show.
All right. In the end, everyone seems so happy. So whether they decide to stay or whether they decide to list and move on because you found them the great place, is that real? Are they always that happy at the end?
Well, they are happy because they win no matter what. They get a great renovation, which adds equity to their home. If they stay, they got a great house.
Okay. And we get a lot of questions asking Simon and I, of course, about the real estate market. We all say if we had a crystal ball.
What's your
But
take on it?
What's your
Yeah.
take?
I think the market in Toronto is fantastic. I mean, I'm surprised by it sometimes. I'm surprised that we're still seeing multiple offers. When you look around, across our borders at what's going on, how good it is here. Now, Toronto is obviously an island, right? If you go outside that island, things change. As you go to the outskirts, it's a little bit slower.
And what about your marketplace that you service?
My marketplace it's very seasonal. The winter kind of slows down, but right now, springtime, it's booming.
Will
It's
you come
crazy.
back and hang out with us again?
I absolutely will.
So much fun.
And we
Lovely.
want to
fun.
join you for martinis.
Anytime, straight up.
We should do that here.
That'd be good.
Nice.
We'll do that next time you're here at
Perfect.
Martinis.
So thank you so much for joining us.
It was my pleasure.